It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup better be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Non, écoutez, mon arrivée, ça correspond à un changement d'approche, un changement de style, de leadership, et je pense que c'est normal de changer le nom. Le nom portait le nom de Monsieur François Legault. Alors voilà, maintenant, il est associé à mon nom. Ça s'inscrit dans le virage qu'on fait au niveau de la gouvernance et au niveau du leadership.
I don't know. So that is Christine Frechette talking about her taking over. The only word in there, by the way, how is the word leadership allowed in French? C'est quoi ça exactement?
Oh, no, it's very common. Very common in
Mon
French.
leader.
But I got to tell you, Madame is being a bit disingenuous with the comments because she's saying, well, no, because it was never l'équipe François Legault. C'est toujours la coalition Avenir Québec. We all knew it was a one-man show.
Right.
We knew that. And you and I have had the conversation ever since he began his, sort of death spiral, politically speaking. And I don't know if anyone went out, if they had the courage to go out, or if it's even in the country, to go and scrum François Legault today and ask, how do you feel about being, erased in a rather Stalin-esque manner from the very party that you helped to co-found? But what's really crazy, Aaron, and for people who like me, CAQ nerds who have spent most of their lives covering elections, is that you very rarely, if ever, see this move at the provincial level. Normally, it's a concept, it's an ideal, Parti québécois, Action démocratique Québec, Parti libéral du Québec. You don't throw in the leader's name. You do that at the municipal levels. It's very common. And it's, l'équipe Joseph Blot de, je sais pas.
Yeah, l'équipe Denis Coderre. I remember that, yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, but you didn't see that. They didn't turn it around and call it, the Quebec Liberals call it l'équipe whatever. And what's crazy is that the message that you're sending, and you're sending it to, I guess, okay, we're a little more aware of the whole inside baseball thing on this, but the public's going to figure out as well that you're basically trying to get people to forget who you are, who you still are. And perhaps one of the ironies is, and as we just heard Tom Whelan tell us, they've scrubbed the party website. It's Coalition Avenir Québec. However, in the top, the logo is Équipe Christine Frechette. Here's the thing: the initial photo when you enter the website for the CAQ or the Équipe Christine Frechette, if you prefer. Here's a nice group photo of Madame, and I guess some cabinet members. Here's the problem: they've been jumping ship so long and so often, Aaron, that this photo depicts Christine Frechette in the middle, which is where she should be. And to her left is Anne LaBelle, who's leaving politics in October. And to her right is Jean Boulet, who's leaving politics in October.
Oops.
So it's almost like here's a little family snapshot as we're lining up for the lifeboats. And here's the people that, but this is the real problem. I don't think, and this is the kind of thing that if your opposition is smart, they will take, they'll take huge advantage of this. This, in and of itself, is an attack ad. Today's development is an attack ad. But, Aaron, you could say the same thing about every move the CAQ has made in the last 8 years. People are not about to forget what has happened. And the problem is, and I remember back in 22, I was not gobsmacked, but, man, I was puzzled at how Quebecers realizing that, and they never hid who they were. They never hid the fact that they traded on discrimination. They never hid the fact that they traded on dividing Quebecers and inciting fear on the part of one group of Quebecers towards another. They never hid that, and certainly I never heard of Christine Frechette turning around and standing up and saying, no, this is wrong, okay? But as much as I was surprised that Quebecers actually sent these people to the National Assembly with a larger mandate. They had a huge mandate when they went back. The blowback now, the absolute detachment Quebecers have for the CAQ is such that we're seeing this real desperate move on their part to try and sort of, parlor trick hypnotize you into thinking, no, the last 8 years never happened. That was somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of that's what's make you think. Do they really do they think the public is that stupid, Jim, that they're not going to realize this? They do. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Aaron, I'm glad you asked that question, even rhetorically, because this is what really infuriates me the most. And I've been on this show for 15 years, and I wasn't always this way. I wasn't always this angry. I wasn't always this absolutely fed up. But the fact is, these people, the contempt that Quebec's political class, and to a certain extent, other levels of government as well, the contempt they have for voters, the contempt they have for the public, the contempt they have for the people who are actually, whether we want to admit it or not, placing their trust in these people for 4 years is absolutely indefensible. And I really get the impression with this move that even though, we heard it in the past and then all of a sudden there was, I don't know where it came from, Aaron, it was this kind of move to rehabilitate Christine Frechette. It's CAQ 2.0 and this and that. I think they're seeing in their internal polls what we had been talking about a few months back, which is that election projections said that CAQ could actually be wiped off the map.
Yeah. So to your point, Jim, when I heard Francois Bonnardel was stepping down, and he was a pretty high-level minister, and yes, he's involved in a couple of potential scandals, whatever, but you'd have to think that there must be some internal polling suggesting to him that it's not looking really, really good, despite what we've heard. And you kept saying we're going to wait for the next poll, but they've been good up to now, but they must know more than we do.
But they do, and I was about to say, with Bonnardel, and the other 34 people have decided to hit the silk, between now and election day. But it really is quite daunting. But of course, that opens a door to another, even more disturbing debate: who's going to pick up the slack and how are they going to do it? And what techniques will they use? Will the divisiveness, will the fear mongering, quite frankly, the Muslim baiting, the immigrant baiting that we've seen prevail in Quebec politics over the past 8 years, will that remain the currency of this election? It's going to be interesting. I like to say no. I got a bad feeling, though, that that's not going to be the case, but we'll see. But the other question, of course, isn't about Christine Frechette or the leaders of the opposition. The real question, I think, for everybody is where exactly is Quebec's electorate right now, and who are they prepared to listen to, and who in the political class are they prepared to tolerate?
So I was going to say, I think this year, for whatever it's worth in this election cycle, I think these debates may prove to be really, truly interesting where people actually begin to make decisions. I mean, that's an easy thing to say this far away, but I really think because everything has been so nebulous now outside of the PQ, who we know what they want to do. They want to just break up the province, and they're going to spend all their time talking about that, but that's not what most people care about. The polls already tell us that, but I think it'll be quite interesting to watch these debates in French.
If their handlers haven't already told them so, as far as I'm concerned, these debates are, in fact, live televised, live streamed job interviews on who wants to be the Premier of Quebec, and I think that's how a lot of people are going to be looking at it. Spare us the abstracts. Spare us the theoreticals of an independent Quebec. What are you going to do the day after the election this October in 2026? I think that's going to be the focus. Agreed. And right now, it's going to be very interesting to see what the answers are.
Jim, what's this issue on consultations over homelessness? I want to say yet again.
Yeah, exactly. Pauline Marois, and I'll give her credit for this because I share, I think, her perspective. Homelessness, not just in Quebec, but in Canada, it is perhaps the number one challenge we're facing as a society. Yeah. It's also a challenge that all levels of government seem quite ready to keep at arm's length as long as it's convenient to do so. I'll cut some slack at the municipal level because really they're on the front line and they get virtually no support from Quebec. So all of a sudden, Madame Frechette has grudgingly decided, we're going to have a rendezvous after the election, and we'll talk about the whole thing, my God, these encampments are slowly but surely attaining small village size. We're waiting, and I hate to say it, it's an accident waiting to happen. Yeah. Accidents have happened. Perhaps more serious accidents will happen down the road. Never mind summer, winter is coming. It's just infuriating, and it's shameful. And when you realize how much money this government, never mind their ideology, how much money this government has thrown out the window on really dumb ideas, really stupid business decisions, really inassailable proofs of their incompetence. 1/10 of that money could alleviate this situation so much, and yet we're still sitting down to have consultations and see what the problem is. If you don't know what the problem is, you shouldn't be in government.
Jim, before I let you go, I want you to answer the question I asked our listeners today. There's new Stats Canada figures showing that there are more Canadians actually crossing the border. Not in huge numbers, but actually, that those numbers have been going up for the past 3 months. Are you still elbows up, or would you go to the U.S.?
Oh, no way. Absolutely no way. And I heard the listeners. And remember, those numbers from comparing to 2025 are still incredibly low compared to 2024. And regime change, I don't care. There's a lot of people who called up who seem very transactional. It doesn't affect me. Well, buddy, maybe it doesn't affect you for the time being until some ICE agent decides you got a funny-sounding last name. Or maybe your wife doesn't really look like she should go with the name that you're showing in your papers. So really, I'm not stepping foot in that country until things change.
James Mennie at the Montreal Gazette. You left me smiling. Jim, thank you.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch